Hey Bayek, it's me Ian, and in today's video I'm looking at this. This is Brimstone from 2016. And before I go any further, I'd just like to thank Jamie of Muckman Movies for sending me this, and I'm really blown away by this film. It's really good. So please, I'll put in his link to his site and go over and check it out, please. Yes, it's a really great site he's got there. So go and have a look at it. Yes. Now, this is I think a psychological thriller western. It's the kind that I really like. It's quite bleak, quite dark in places, but yeah, even within that, there is a certain kind of optimism, even, dare I say it, even in the bleakness. There's something there that just runs through it. Since I watched Bone Tomahawk, I thought, well, this is the kind of western that I really like. And yes, this definitely is well worth watching if you're looking for something different from the norm. Now, this is 148 minutes long. Yes, it's long, but it's wow, it just sails by again from it. I'm so absorbed in it, this story. Now, it's interesting that Rotten Tomatoes give it 44%. It doesn't surprise me, really, because some of the subject matter dealt with here really can divide opinion, I think. But as I say, with critics, I'm not put off at all by this, because this is something special. I'm going to say that it is the kind of film that I really like. It's got something really about it. Now, let's go into the writing. It's written and directed by this Dutch man called Martin Koolhoven. And it was a 5-year project, this. He had it going, and he spent all that time trying to get the finances together, the script together, everything. It took quite a lot of doing. In terms of films, it's all sort of Dutch, not international ones, but Winter in Wartime was a big acclaimed Dutch film from 2008. But as I say, it took quite a long time. He had this vision, I think, of exactly what he wanted. And he wanted to do a Western. And why not do one in Europe? I mean, all the other countries, like Italy, as we know, had a tradition of doing Westerns. Why couldn't he do one? And he got all these countries ultimately combined to provide the finance. So we had, obviously, Holland, France, Germany, Sweden, and the UK. It's a great combination, a European Western. This is what we've got. Fantastic, isn't it? It really is. And of course, it would be aimed at the international market and done in English. Yeah, fantastic. So it was released, it says, on 2016, 3rd of September at the Venice Film Festival. But it didn't get a general release in the Netherlands till 12th of January 2017. So that's Holland, of course. Then in the UK, it didn't get a release till September the 27th, 2017. In America, 10th of March 2017, USA. So it was getting a lot of world worldwide recognition, I suppose, in 2017. Um, Now, principal photography of this film took place in Germany, Hungary, Austria, and Spain. So that again, you wouldn't believe it, would you? What a great job they've done. When you actually look at all the location filming, it is absolutely amazing. Just looking at it, it really is absolutely fantastic. Now, the film is divided into 4 parts, which is interesting. The first part that comes up on the screen is called Revelation. Then the second part is called Exodus. Third part, Genesis. And the fourth part, Retribution. You can see the biblical theme, okay. Really, the way the narrative is very interesting. You've got the first part, the Revelation, which sets a certain timeline going, a certain story, how it is. Then Exodus and Genesis take the story further back. Rather than doing flashbacks, they filmed it like this, in this particular order. And then the end, we've got Retribution, which is following on, really, continuation of Revelation, the beginning. And they filmed it in 2 big blocks, seasonal. So we had the second and third was, I think, filmed in the sort of spring, summertime. And 1 and 4 was filmed more in the winter time. So this is a very interesting way of how the story unfolds, and the way the script is brilliantly put together, because you soon get into this narrative. You do. It's not a straightforward narrative, but you've kind of fit everything in, and you realize as it goes along, it all fits into place beautifully. This is a well thought out script, it really is. Let's get into the cast, because the cast is so important in this film. And it's headed by, what an amazing performance. It's perhaps the best performance I have seen him in. It's Guy Pearce, who plays the Reverend. Notice he's just called the Reverend. He's a very interesting, complex part of this. Very much so. I mean, what a performance. But let me go into films that we might know Guy Pearce. Of course, it goes right back to originally the Australian soap Neighbours, but he got into sort of recognition with The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, 1994 Australian film. Then he started to go into Hollywood with LA Confidential, 1997, The Hurt Locker. These are just some highlighted films, 2009. And Memento, of course, which is a Nolan film, Christopher Nolan. That's from 2000. That certainly was very highly rated film. Then he was in a film that I really enjoy, Prometheus. Yes, continuing the Alien sort of universe, if you want to call it that. He was in Iron Man 3, 2013. And he was in a film that I've just seen fairly recently and got, which was Mary, Queen of Scots, 2018. And I think a review may well come up on the channel in the future of that one. Yeah, but he's a great actor, really. But as I say, this performance, wow. Then we've got another interesting name, Dakota Fanning, who plays Liz. She was somebody who we've seen develop over the years from a child actress into an adult actress. She's films that stand out for her as I Am Sam, 2001, Man on Fire, 2004. And she was in the Twilight Saga. Yes, you remember them, don't you? Twilight Saga, New Moon, 2009. Twilight Saga, Eclipse, 2010. Twilight Saga. Yes, there's three of them. Blooming things. Breaking Dawn Part Two, 2012. There you are. And then she was in Tarantino film, um, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Wow, a Tarantino film. She was in that. And I'd just like to say she is in a film coming out in the next few months called The Watchers, and it's directed by, yes, here we go, Ashina, I think that's how you pronounce it, Ashina Shamalama. I always get his name wrong. It's his daughter. It's her directorial debut. And I've already heard some people already sneering at that. This is going to be good. I think it's going to be good. She's already got well schooled. She'd already been part of his films as a director of setting units. So I don't think there's any problem there at all. So that's something. And Dakota Fanning is in that one. Yes, I can't wait to see that, really. I'm looking forward to it. Then we've got Amelia Jones playing Joanne. So she's a child actress. I think she's probably now about 13, I think, in this. Maybe something about that. I think she's about 13. It's films that she's started in. Horrible Histories. Yes, they did a film, 2019. A film called Coda, which is highly thought of in 2021. Also, Fairyland 2023. She's an up-and-coming real actress getting involved in quite a few things. And she's excellent in this. I mean, she has actually quite a difficult part in this to explain to her what some of the things that are happening, which are quite disturbing. Very disturbing, but she was very good. She really was. When there's interviews on the disc, some great extras. In fact, I'm sure the extras are about 1.5 to 2 hours, something like that. I was watching them all. Fantastic they were. And yeah, so that's Amelia Jones playing Joanna. Then we've got Caris Van Houten, who plays Hannah, and I think she's involved in Susie Q, 1919, but there is quite a few Dutch. There's a Dutch connection, you see, with her as well. And she was in also Incarnate, which was a horror film from 2016. Also a film called Domino, 2019. Then we've got Kit Harington, who plays Samuel. No, I didn't know anything much about Kit Harington, but I'm sure a lot of you might know more about him. I know he was in the Eternals in 2021, but he was in, between 2011 and 2019, The Game of Thrones, which was a massive TV series, which I've never been in, but that was big, and he was in that. I think he was in a leading role in that TV series. So there we have Kit Harington. So just an idea. It's very hard to put down in so many words what this is about, but I think we'll look from the beginning, and that might give you an idea. So Liz, who can't speak, is accused of a crime that she didn't commit, and the person accusing her is the new reverend who's appeared, and there's something very sinister and evil about him already, we gather when we're watching it, and she is in total panic mode, really, seeing him. She delivers a baby. She has to make a decision. He accuses her of murder. It all starts to unravel then. and she has to do everything she can. She must save herself and her family, and that's where she begins this journey, trying to get away from him. And he, the Reverend, is out to punish her. He wants his revenge. That is the premise of the story. But then, when we get into the Exodus part and the Genesis part, we find out so much more about the past, and we see the Reverend character in various stages. And wow, this character that Guy Pearce plays is just, whew, he's just evil personified. I can't describe him anything more. He's perverted, he's sadistic, he's full of himself, really, and uses being a priest. We never know his name, it's interesting. He's called the Reverend, and he's far from that. He's all about the Bible, but he's not somebody who seems to be following the Bible. Or if it is, it's very much the biblical, judgmental, Old Testament kind of religion that he's putting down. And wow, he is awful. He is a nasty, nasty piece of work. This is what makes the film so good, seeing him like this. And of course, the performance of Dakota Fanning and Liz, and Emilia Jones as Joanne, which I can say this, Joanne is a younger version of Liz. We find out that in it. I don't think that's too much of a giveaway, really, but it's an important part of the story. And the things that she goes through, it's just incredible. And we get into some really dark territory. And it's almost like a horror film. It can be so brutal, this world. It really is. And I think, this is why this stands out for me. It is not your typical Hollywood Western, is it? I mean, Westerns have obviously expanded into a lot of areas, and certainly in Hollywood they did. And of course, European with the spaghetti Westerns, and we get that different, darker look. But this really takes it there. It's exactly the kind of film that I want. You've got, they've got this Dutch community as well, which is a nice link in America. That's how we're seeing it, because there were all these different settlers, and they're like a kind of Puritan, Calvinistic, religious people, the way they act and everything. And the Reverend exploits all that for his own evil gains, and that's it. But the film, it has such a wide landscape of ideas about religion, sin, and also, I think more importantly, about how when somebody is determined, and a woman like this is so determined, she is very clever, she's got total survival mode, you could say. And she works wonders, and she's do anything, and I mean anything, to protect her family. We have that, and it's beautifully all weaved into this story, this dark story. Yes, some will say it is even the ending, it is bleak, but then there's just that bit of hope there. We see something there. I'm not going to give the ending away, but we also about sacrifice, people sacrificing themselves, and there's so many different themes going on here, and it's all done so well in the context of like a Western, you could say. Yes, that is the context of it. And you don't see this often in westerns. Bone Tomahawk certainly made me think, and that had that the imagery and that as well. And then we've got this, which is another development in the western, but in the same kind of vein, that dark brutality. Things are not painted all nice, and that you almost feel this has a more real connection with reality. Yes, it's very, it feels almost like, yes, I can believe all this happened. It's not some mythical Hollywood fairy tale western at all. No, the problem is we often see things sanitized. We don't see the dirt, the filth, the real grit, the real depth of depravity that people will descend into evil. And this film shows all that. I think it's truly a magnificent, epic film. It's one of my favourite films, even though it's such a dark film. And the subject matter, I mean, crikey, it's unbelievable. This man is so perverted as well. Incestuous. It's evil, but Guy Pearce is absolutely brilliant, and yet you think it's so believable as well that some of these religious people hide behind their religion to commit all sorts of atrocities and all sorts of horrible things, but people stand up and people fight against them, and that is the human nature, and it's great. This film just opens up everything. I absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Jamie, for sending me this. It is a real favourite of mine. It goes well with Bone Tomahawk. They fit well together. I love these films. I love to see even more of these kind of films, looking at religion and how the West really was, how it was portrayed, the darker side of it all, of the pioneers that went out there. Amazing stuff. Anyhow, I've gone on a bit too much there, I think, but I love this film. And if you're interested in this kind of thing, you love it, honestly. I can't recommend it highly enough. It's one of the greatest films I've seen with Bone Tomahawk in terms of westerns. Wow. Absolutely wow. Anyhow, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We'll let you know when I put out these videos. And have a look at the playlist and see all the other things that I've done. Have a look at my previous Bone Tomahawk review. You get an idea about in terms of westerns. But all the other things, and I'm often very nostalgic, all that sort of stuff. And if you like this particular video, please give it a like, because then it'll get out into YouTube, and other people might then come across this and think, oh yeah, this is really interesting. I'd love to see more people interested in this film and talk about it. So please give it a like, and if you've got any comments, please put your comments down. I love to read your comments. I'll always answer them, and it all costs note. So you can't say fairer than that, can it? Buy it, you can't. So all I've got to say is, I'll see thee again.